This is Kyuko Hori, a schoolgirl who's known for her beauty and intelligence. Despite her popularity, she declines a guy's request for her phone number through her friend, Yuki Yoshikawa. Ishikawa then invites Hori and her friends to karaoke, but she declines. As the clock ticks, Hori rushes back home, leaving her friends to speculate that she's going on a date. At home, Hori changes from stylish to casual, responsibly managing her household chores. Her routine is disrupted when her younger brother, Suta, returns with a nosebleed, accompanied by a seemingly lonely boy. Hori is grateful and invites him for coffee, only to discover he's Izumi Miyamura, a classmate who is always alone, much to her surprise. The next day at school, Hori invites him to her house again because her younger brother wants to play with him. However, Miyamura is surprised that Hori wants to talk to him, but Hori explains that there's no reason for her to avoid him. During his visit, Hori discovers that Miyamura has no interest in manga, that his family owns a nearby cake shop, and that he has 9 piercings and tattoos on his body, but that when it comes to a test, he performs poorly, unlike her. Hori then urgently texts Miyamura to take advantage of a limited-time sale on eggs because she has a student council meeting. So Miyamura rushes to the grocery store to fulfill her request. In doing so, he unintentionally reveals his true appearance in front of Yuki, but fortunately, she doesn't recognize him as Miyamura. Later back at her house, Miyamura tells Hori that he met Yuki on his way to the grocery store, which makes her jealous. She asks him to keep his other side hidden from everyone because she wants to keep it to herself. Hearing her confession, Miyamura also tells her to keep her casual style hidden, which makes her feel embarrassed. As Hori and Miyamura's relationship grows stronger, Ishikawa approaches Miyamura and informs him that he wants to confess to Hori. So Miyamura decides to put some distance between himself and Hori. After school, Ishikawa confesses his feelings to Hori, but she rejects him. Back at home, Hori confronts Miyamura for telling Ishikawa that they are a good match. So Miyamura tells her that he only wants to protect her reputation, which drives her mad. So the two finally make up, and Hori explains that she rejected Ishikawa's confession. The following day, Hori takes Miyamura to the grocery store, where she happens to hear an anime soundtrack and makes her sing along. Hearing his beautiful voice, Miyamura asks her favorite genre of music, but she has no idea other than anime songs. When Hori returns home, she discovers that her mother has arrived early and has many questions about Miyamura. Hori realizes she doesn't know Miyamura's first name, despite spending so much time with him. So she tries multiple ways to learn his first name, but none of them work. As Miyamura begins to suspect Hori's strange behavior, she reveals that she is curious about his first name, which Miyamura finds ridiculous. So he finally reveals his first name, which is Izumi. The next day, Sengoku, the student council president, approaches Hori for help with his assignment. Seeing her exhausted, Yuki feels that she is only being used by the student council, but she doesn't mind. Meanwhile, in the school hall, Remi collides with Miyamura, scattering all of the student council's documents to the ground. Concerned about being punished by the president for being late, she quickly abandons him, which Miyamura discovers is where her document is being left. The next morning, Miyamura discovers a commotion in the hallway caused by student council members demanding Hori apologize for losing the student council's budget report. As Hori is about to apologize, Miyamura pulls Sengoku's tie and gives him a surprise headbutt, which surprises everyone. He then proves it to them by revealing that one of the members, Remi, had dropped it by accident when she bumped into him. So they apologize to Hori and leave them behind. Miyamura then questions Hori about her motivation for helping the student council president with his assignment, and Hori reveals that she feels guilty for bullying Sengoku as a child. As Hori's birthday approaches, Miyamura gives her a present, which she discovers to be a popular pop CD, and she wonders how he knows what she always wants. Miyamura then recalls his dark past, in which he was always left alone at school for a class project. However, meeting Hori changed everything. She became his first true friend. Back in the present, when a teacher suggests group study, Miyamura's old fears resurface. To his relief, Ishikawa, Yoshikawa, and Hori join forces with him, reminding him that he now has true friends on his side. The next day, Hori meets Remi, who asks her if she and Miyamura are in a romantic relationship. Hori claims they are just friends, but Remi flirts with the idea of dating Miyamura. However, Hori declares that she will not allow her to have Miyamura. Reflecting on their relationship, she realizes Miyamura does not belong to anyone. After school, Hori and Miyamura share a sweet moment as they compare their hands. Almost confessing her feelings, Hori quickly masks her emotions by complimenting Miyamura's nice hands. As they hold hands, their bond grows stronger. The next morning, Remi talks with her best friend, Sakura, about Hori's possessiveness over Miyamura. Ishikawa accidentally overhears their conversation and confronts Miyamura about Hori's feelings. Miyamura denies any romantic feelings, claiming that he is only viewed as her friend. This causes a short disagreement between Ishikawa and Miyamura, which is finally resolved through apologies. Miyamura admits to Yoshikawa that Hori is the reason for their fight. As summer rolls in, Ishikawa helps Sakura to retrieve the scattered papers that she dropped. This small gesture leads to a conversation between them, and it's revealed that Sakura secretly has feelings for Ishikawa. In the middle of the hot weather, Miyamura offers some ice cream to Ishikawa. Later, they decide to cool off even more by inviting Sengoku to join them. Sengoku, in turn, suggests going to the student council room, which has air conditioning and can provide relief from the heat. In the student council room, Hori and Miyamura lose a game of rock-paper-scissors and are tasked with buying drinks for their friends. While waiting, Remi playfully teases Ishikawa, suggesting that Hori gets along better with him than with Miyamura, which makes him slightly envious. Sakura approaches Sengoku to inquire about Ishikawa's feelings, and he confirms Ishikawa's affection for Hori. After school, Hori and Miyamura work on their homework together. During their time together, Hori becomes curious about what could fluster Miyamura. He confides that he only feels flustered when interacting with his middle school classmate, Shindo, who remained his friend throughout the years. Hori is surprised by this secret and becomes more intrigued about his life. Soon after, Hori develops a fever but continues to attend school. Suda stops her from going to school and tells her to stay in her bed. Hori then recalls her childhood, when her mother always abandoned her, even when she was sick. As Hori awakens from her sleep, she discovers Miyamura by her side, having come to nurse her. When Miyamura tries to get a drink for her, Hori suddenly weakens and falls from her bed. She begs Miyamura to stay, afraid that he will abandon her like her mother did. He assures her that he will always be by her side. While Hori goes back to sleep, Miyamura prepares to leave. However, before leaving, he secretly whispers "I love you" to her. This confession catches Hori off guard and fills her with fear, leaving her yearning to hear those words from him again. When Suda gets home from school, he tells Hori that he saw Miyamura walking hand in hand with a girl from another school. Hori's world is rocked by this news, and she assumes Miyamura is cheating on her. Filled with anger and confusion, she decides to avoid Miyamura at school while secretly trying to find out the truth about the mysterious girl. Hori runs into Miyamura after school and immediately confronts him about the mysterious girl mentioned by Suda. Miyamura calmly explains that the girl is Chika, Shindo's girlfriend. Dissatisfied with his answer, Hori expresses her frustration by throwing her textbook at him and then abruptly runs away. Later, when Miyamura returns to her house to return the textbook, they both apologize to each other. As the air clears, Hori abruptly admits that she heard his previous confession. Miyamura expresses his regret for running away because he was too afraid to hear her response to his feelings. However, their conversation is interrupted by Hori's father, who strikes Miyamura with some questions. When her father asks about their status, Hori confirms that Miyamura is her boyfriend, officially marking the start of their relationship. After dinner, Hori walks Miyamura back home while holding hands. Meanwhile, Ishikawa receives the exciting news but struggles to accept it, despite maintaining his friendship with Miyamura. Sakura tells Remi about her crush on Ishikawa and expresses insecurities about not being as beautiful as Hori. However, Remi stands up for her, assuring Sakura that she is unique and beautiful in her own way. When Miyamura visits Hori's house, her father's strange behavior takes an unexpected turn when he becomes obsessed with Miyamura and even invites him to take a bath with him. As the night grows late, he suggests that Miyamura stay over. While they are trying to sleep, Hori's father asks Miyamura why he likes his daughter. Miyamura replies that he admires Hori for not judging people based on their appearance. The next morning, as Hori and Miyamura walk to school together, their classmates discover they're dating. The news spreads quickly throughout the school, with many people surprised that a smart girl like Hori is in a relationship with the once lonely Miyamura. To everyone's surprise, Miyamura arrives at school with a new hairstyle and without his glasses. This transformation makes him popular with the girls, which makes Hori jealous. The girls take photos of him, prompting Hori to join in on capturing his new look. After school, Shindo shares his candies with Hori and Miyamura. Hori gets a taste of a particularly bitter one, causing an unexpected response from Miyamura, who kisses her to sweeten the bitterness. The next day, Miyamura's new look continues to draw attention, especially from Monoka Sawada, a first-year student who approaches him and asks about their breakup. Miyamura clarifies that he has no plans to break up with Hori. It becomes apparent that Sawada has feelings for Hori and they end up fighting for Hori. After school, Sawada follows Miyamura home, discovering that they are neighbors. Miyamura invites her in for cake, and Sawada eventually opens up about her brother's death a year ago. Later, when Sawada encounters some bothersome guys, she seeks Miyamura's help, and his mere presence is enough to scare them away. Sawada admits that she is uncomfortable around most men, except for Miyamura. Meanwhile, when Yuki and Ishikawa are taking out the trash together, Ishikawa accidentally collides with Sakura, and her clothes get stained from the trash. In an act of kindness gesture, Ishikawa apologizes and lends Sakura his jacket to cover up the stain. The next day, Sakura returns Ishikawa's jacket after washing it and expresses her gratitude with a homemade cookie. Ishikawa enjoys the sweetness, which makes Sakura excited. Yuki, on the other hand, can't help but feel jealous. So she approaches Miyamura and asks for his assistance in baking cupcakes, but their baking ends up burning. Ishikawa unexpectedly appears, eager to taste Yuki's burned cupcakes, and encourages her to keep baking. The following day, Miyamura is absent from school as he needs to attend a funeral in Hokkaido for 5 days. Unfortunately, he forgets his phone charger, causing his phone run out of battery. Day after day, Hori anxiously awaits his return, counting down the days. When he finally returns, he accidentally collides with Hori in the elevator, and she immediately hugs him, expressing how the 5 days felt too long for her. After school, Hori invites Miyamura to watch a horror movie, recalling her friend's advice to act scared while watching with him. However, she ends up scaring Miyamura instead. Hori becomes frustrated as she tries to act cute in front of him, but Miyamura gently reminds her that he loves her just the way she is. Miyamura has a dream in which he meets his younger self, who is bitter and lonely, hating everyone around him for having fun while he is excluded for no reason. His younger self expresses a desire to die, but Miyamura persuades him to wait, assuring him that he will make many friends in the future, including a girlfriend who will love him. Remi reminisces on her relationship with Sengoku, who appeared perfect in everyone's eyes except Remi's, who saw him as a weak boy who is also a hard worker. Their relationship deepened as they discussed their favorite books and frequently lent them to her. When Sengoku invited her to his library, he embarrassingly confessed his love for her, which she gladly accepted. In the meantime, Hori is giving Miyamura's leg a manicure. When Hori asks for his other foot, he accidentally places his foot on Hori's head, for which he immediately apologizes. Instead of being angry, Hori is curious and wonders why he acts kind in front of her but not with his friends. Miyamura explains that he doesn't want to show her his masochistic side, which Hori finds appealing. During their break, Miyamura tries to show this side to Hori, but he unintentionally scares their classmates. Surprisingly, Hori finds this side of him appealing. After school, Yuki seeks Ishikawa's help in rejecting a student from another class who confessed his feelings to her, pretending that Ishikawa is her boyfriend. Hori and Miyamura come along to keep an eye on them. To everyone's surprise, the student turns out to be Akane Yanagi, who is considered a million times hotter than Ishikawa. However, Yuki still insists on rejecting his feelings. On the other hand, Miyamura and his friends welcome Akane into their friendship group. As they return home from school together, Miyamura meets Tanehara, his old middle school classmate, who used to bully him and continues to bully him again. Annoyed with their attitude toward his boyfriend, and angry Hori beats them all until they are injured. Soon after, Hori continues to persuade Miyamura to be rough with her, which he reluctantly gives in to and accidentally scares Tanehara and his friends. Hori strangely feels happy, while Miyamura feels guilty for hitting her. Tanehara then has a dream where he reflects on an incident from the past when he blamed Miyamura for the deaths of their school's rabbits. As he wakes up, he immediately calls Miyamura, but he doesn't pick up his phone. When Miyamura tries to close his cake shop, he is visited by Tanehara, who warmly promises Miyamura that he'll return the day after tomorrow to try his cheesecake and fruit tart. Tanehara then internally apologizes for his actions, where he forgets to feed the rabbits and blames Miyamura for the death. Later in Hori's room, Miyamura finds Hori's middle school yearbook, where he reflects on his middle school days, as Miyamura is now able to look back on it more fondly after getting closer to everyone. Hori then gets jealous over how close Miyamura is with Tanehara, Shindo, and the other guys and thinks that Miyamura is falling in love with guys now. Meanwhile, Yuki and Ishikawa's fake relationship spreads over the school, and Sakura can't help but feel jealous of them. Not wanting Sakura to feel bad about this, Yuki tells Remi that her relationship with Ishikawa is fake. Deep inside her heart, Yuki actually wants to turn her lie into something real, but she knows that it won't be okay. Hori feels worried about Yuki because she has been absent from school for 3 days. Yuki also doesn't contact Hori and her friends, which makes Ishikawa secretly try to contact her. However, Yuki's older sister scolds Yuki for her bad habits, where she never says what she truly wants and ends up complaining at the end. As she tries to open her phone, Yuki finds a message from Ishikawa, where he messages her that Sakura confesses her feelings to him. The next day, Ishikawa invites Yuki to the school rooftop, where he tells her that Sakura doesn't need his answer when she confesses her feelings because she knows that they are both dating. Ishikawa also reveals that he didn't want to clear up the misunderstanding because he already promised to play along with her. He also feels that Sakura deserves someone better than him. Ishikawa then tries to cheer Yuki up by talking about all the things he loves about snow, which refers to her name, Yuki, and how excited they are for it to arrive. Later after school, Sakura sees Yuki and Ishikawa walking back home from the window, and she bursts into tears. She's been rejected before she can confess her feelings to Ishikawa, and Sengoku tries to comfort Sakura. As Akane starts to become more involved with the student council, many boys in school attempt to get closer to him. Miyamura is initially concerned that Akane's presence will cause him to lose touch with the guys. However, as time passes, Miyamura develops a close relationship with Yanagi as well. Meanwhile, Sawada becomes more comfortable around the boys. However, when Shu appears and begins to act annoyingly, Sawada's discomfort returns. She starts to feel scared and uneasy around him. The next day, Shu becomes sick unexpectedly and crosses paths with Sawada again. This time, he silently assists her and doesn't engage in much conversation, leaving her concerned that he dislikes her. Back at home, Shu encounters his sister, Motoko, who is feeling discouraged after her teacher suggests she won't be able to get into her favorite high school. Shu, on the other hand, encourages her by praising her dedication and hard work. He reaches out to Hori, asking for her assistance in helping his sister pass the entrance exam. Shu also buys a lucky charm for Motoko to boost her confidence before the exam. Later that evening, Hori invites Miyamura to Christmas dinner, but he declines due to his commitment to help at his family's shop. This decision disappoints both Suta and Hori's father. Meanwhile, Ishikawa opens up to Sengoku and Shu about his feelings for Yuki, revealing that, technically, they aren't dating but just friends. This revelation leaves everyone in the group surprised. Ishikawa then invites Yuki to his house to play video games, but Yuki becomes suspicious, suspecting that he is trying to hide her from his parents. It turns out that Ishikawa has a housekeeper who is curious about his friends. After spending time playing games, they are treated to a delicious cheesecake, which surprisingly comes from Miyamura's bakery. As Christmas Eve approaches, everyone enjoys spending time with family, friends, and loved ones. Miyamura pays a visit to Hori's house before heading to work, bringing joy to those gathered. While walking Miyamura to his shop, Hori expresses her desire to stay with him even after they graduate from high school. In response, Miyamura suggests that they get married, which they promise to look forward together. As their school year comes to a close, Hori and her friends clean out their lockers, marking the beginning of the end of their high school journey. Remy expresses her concern about everyone drifting apart after graduation, but her friends reassure her that they will stay together. Miyamura reflects on how a small accident led him to meet Hori and his other friends, feeling grateful because his middle school years were not as enjoyable as his high school years. Hori believes their meeting is fated and that they are meant to be together. During the graduation ceremony, Sengoku attempts to give a speech, but Miyamura accidentally sneezes, which disrupts Sengoku's concentration. Miyamura then retreats to the school's rooftop, where he encounters a gloomy Miyamura from his past. He tells his former self that he won't turn away from his past any longer. Sakura summons the courage to confess her feelings to Ishikawa. She thanks him for the wonderful year they have shared, calling it the best year of her life. Hori's father unexpectedly shows up to tease Miyamura and Hori. At the same time, Motoko arrives at the front gate to pick up Shu and notices her brother's changed personality at school. As they walk back together, Miyamura thinks about all the things he admires about Hori and how much she has done to help him overcome his dark past. Now that their high school years are over, Miyamura and Hori are looking forward to their relationship. That's a wrap. Thank you for watching.